Hello, everyone. I am Matt Williamson. How's everyone doing? I'm swell. Kind of last nugget, I think. First off, Steelers roster is set, as you know. And I do expect changes. I think that they are going to add someone from another team. This will not be the final 53 when they go to Atlanta. Just my hunch. But as you know, I do the drive with Dale Lawley. And he sent me a note that he did a little research that I was a little shocked on. It's not as crazy as you think, but still, of the 53 current Steelers, the guys that made the roster on final cuts, 22 of them weren't with the team last year. That's a pretty big turnover. I mean, the whole quarterback room, Queen, some big name guys, of course, all your draft picks, of course, but that happens every year. But I thought that was kind of interesting that 22 of the final 53 were not Steelers last year. It's like, wow, okay. I don't look at that necessarily as a bad thing. I mean, I don't know how to take it, but I don't think it's as big a turnover as it sounds on the surface. A lot of teams do these things, have massive changes, but about half your locker room is different. Not sure how to take that. We'll see how it goes. I mean, but I did think that was interesting. And then strangely, I got a message from a fella named Jake Van Riper. And I didn't know any of this either, but he said, look at how many former Steelers got cut on Tuesday. And he sent me this huge list, and I just want to kind of go through it quickly. And he basically asked me, he's like, would you consider bringing these guys back? And my first thoughts were, well, if a lot of former Steelers are getting cut, maybe give the Steelers a little bit of credit for moving on from them when they did. Sort of the opposite of the Kevin Dotson conversation. Like, man, they gave away Kevin Dotson and he blew up. They were dumb. Well, they moved on from a lot of these dudes, some bigger names than others, but I want to go through them. I mean, it might shock you that even some of these guys are still in the league, to be honest with you. Dejan Kane got cut by the Bills. All right. Anthony McFarland got cut by the Dolphins, who's their type of back, but I would think things are done with him. I'll stop when I get to somebody that's slightly interesting, but there are a couple. Patriots cut Kellen Diesch, the offensive tackle. Xavier Valladay from the Jets, a running back, got cut. Anthony Miller, remember him? The Ravens cut him. Hakeem Butler, Nate Gilliam, Carlos Davis, all cut by the Bengals. Rex Suahara is a long snapper, cut by the Browns. Again, some of these aren't that big a deal. Desmond King, who the Steelers traded for, and then ended up back in Texas in Houston, got cut. Denzel Mims, Tanner Muse, Jonathan Marshall, and most notably, Terrell Edmonds, all cut by the Jags. I'd consider bringing Edmonds back, but he's now been with a lot of teams since the Steelers moved on from him, which is not a ringing endorsement for him. But would you take him over the other Elliott at this point as just a depth guy? Maybe. He was not a core special teamer here, though, because he played like every snap on defense. Tennessee cut Abdullah Anderson. Tennessee cut them. Kansas City cut Chris Owulikon, the 7th-round pick from 2022, the quarterback. Zach Gentry cut from the Raiders. I'm fine not bringing him back, but interesting. What about these ones, though? Giants cut Allen Robinson and Miles Boykin. I think I'd rather have Miles Boykin than Miller, just because he's a special team stud. He's a really good blocker. I could see some jumbo packages on offense where Arthur Smith would enjoy his, what he brings to the table. So I might consider that move. I would like to get Boykin somehow back in the fold. Martavis Bryant was released. Trace McSorley, James Pierre. That one's kind of interesting too, because him and Boykin were the two stud gunners. And J.C. Hassenauer all were released by Washington. The Bears let go of Avante Collins and Corliss Whitman. Okay. John LeGlue cut by the Falcons. I'm not interested. Jesse Davis by the Saints. Dan Chisena from the Cardinals. Chris Hubbard, Nick Williams, and Presley Harvin III, all cut by the Niners. I'm not interested in any of those. Cody White, Artie Burns, and Easton Gibbs, all cut by Seattle. So there's a couple interesting names there, and I knew a lot of those names would at least pique your interest. Guys that have played meaningful snaps here, most of them are nobodies that probably, no offense, might be done with football at this point. This episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football, from the preseason NFL to college kicking off. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our winner-take-all 300,000 survivor pool for the upcoming season. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on the game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and use promo code BLEAV, capital BLEAV, all caps, and get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here. Last thing I got for you is some O-line stuff here that I think you'll get a kick out of. That Brandon Thorne, I've mentioned him before, he's the best O-line analyst out there. He just is. And he digs in heavy to the draft. He digs in heavy to current O-lines. But he put out his top 10 rookie O-linemen in the preseason. And Graham Barton, who I'm sure you remember, from what I saw, was unbelievable this preseason. And he came in second on the list. Him, Pooney, the guard from the Niners, they came in second and third. But number one on the list was Zach Frazier. Best rookie O-lineman in the whole preseason. Like Alt was on the list, but Frazier beat them all. And I just wanted to read what he had to say. My pick for best rookie blocker from the preseason goes to Frazier, who made a smooth transition from his time at West Virginia to his first few games as a pro. He made an immediate impact against the Texans in week 1. His renowned play strength and finishing skills as a run blocker were on full display. Frazier's sturdy at the point of attack, rarely ceding ground, and regularly uprooting his target before latching, steering, and finishing in full control. He followed up week 1 with his 53 snaps in week 2 against the Bills, including reps against some starters, showcasing the same imposing, commanding ability. He wrapped up the preseason playing 19 snaps against the Lions and made the key block against fellow rookie McKay Wingo to spring the 31-yard touchdown. Frazier was battling Nate Herbig for the starting center spot before Herbig went down with a season-ending shoulder injury and at the last training camp practice, but it's safe to say that Frazier would have eventually wrestled the job away from him. Frazier was one of my guys, puts that in quotes, from this draft. So far, he looks like a quality starter out of the gates from the Steelers. I saw all the same things. He phrased it better than I would have, but he looks like he belonged from the start and has that look of an immediate starter, a long-term starter, a foundational piece at an important position. And I just found it interesting that of all the rookie linemen in a really good rookie draft class, Alt, Latham, etc., he thought Frazier was the best tape in the pro uniform so far. Pretty good stuff. All right, everyone. Take care.